Is it possible to understand what I is, or is it an eternal mystery? Who am I? This seemingly simple question is among the most profound a human being can ask. It echoes across cultures, philosophies, and spiritual traditions, touching the very heart of existence. But as we peel away the layers of self-identity, our name, profession, memories, and even our physical form, what remains? Is there a core to the I, or does the search lead us into an endless labyrinth? Today, we embark on a journey to uncover the essence of the self and ponder whether this mystery is one we can ever fully solve. The puzzle of self. What do we mean by I? At first glance, the answer to what is I seems straightforward. I is me, this body, this mind, this collection of thoughts, emotions, and memories. But is that all? The deeper we probe, the more elusive the I becomes. The philosopher René Descartes famously declared, "Cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am." For Descartes, the act of thinking was undeniable proof of existence. But what exactly is the I that thinks? Is it the brain, a soul, or something else entirely? Modern neuroscience complicates the question further. It suggests that the self is not a singular entity but a collection of neural processes. Our sense of I emerges from the brain's ability to integrate sensory experiences, memories, and emotions into a cohesive narrative. Yet, this raises a tantalizing question. If the brain creates the self, does the I exist independently of the brain? The layers of identity. Peeling back the I when we try to define ourselves, we often begin with labels: I am a teacher, I am a parent, or I am an artist. But these roles are transient. A teacher may retire, a parent's children may grow up, and an artist may cease creating. When these roles fade, does the I disappear too? The illusion of labels. Consider the case of someone who has lost their memory due to amnesia. They no longer recognize their name, family, or past experiences. Yet, they still feel an undeniable sense of self. This suggests that the I cannot be fully defined by external labels or even personal history. The physical body. Perhaps the I resides in the body. After all, we often identify ourselves with our appearance, voice, and physical sensations. But what happens when the body changes? A person who loses a limb does not feel that they have lost a part of their self. This implies that the core of I lies beyond the physical form. Philosophical perspectives. The self is a paradox throughout history. Thinkers and spiritual leaders have offered diverse interpretations of the self, often highlighting its paradoxical nature. The Buddhist view. No permanent self. Buddhism challenges the very notion of a fixed self. According to the doctrine of anatta non-self, the I is an illusion, a constantly changing interplay of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. Like a river, it appears continuous but is, in fact, ever-changing. For Buddhists, liberation comes not from defining the self but from letting go of the illusion of self altogether. The Hindu perspective. The eternal Atman. In contrast, Hinduism speaks of the Atman, a divine, unchanging essence within each individual. This eternal self is seen as a fragment of the universal spirit, or Brahman. The journey of self-discovery in Hinduism involves peeling away the layers of ego and illusion to connect with this deeper truth. Existentialism. Creating the self. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that the self is not something we discover but something we create through our choices. For Sartre, I is not a fixed essence but a fluid, dynamic process shaped by freedom and responsibility. This view places the burden, and the power, of defining the self squarely in our hands. Neuroscience and the illusion of I. Modern science sheds light on the mechanisms behind our sense of self, yet it also deepens the mystery. The default mode network. When the brain is at rest, a network of regions known as the default mode network becomes active. This network is thought to play a crucial role in self-referential thinking, our ability to reflect on who we are. However, disruptions to this network, such as through meditation or psychedelics, can dissolve the boundaries of the self, creating a sense of unity with the universe. The split brain experiment. One of the most striking insights into the nature of self comes from split brain research. When the corpus callosum, the bridge connecting the brain's two hemispheres, is severed, each hemisphere seems to develop its own sense of self-awareness. This suggests that the I we experience as singular may actually be the product of multiple processes working in harmony. Mystical experiences, glimpses beyond the self. Throughout history, individuals have reported profound experiences that seem to transcend the boundaries of the self. These mystical moments often involve a sense of unity with the cosmos, a loss of ego, or emerging with something greater. Near-death experiences. People who have had near-death experiences often describe a sensation of leaving their physical body and observing themselves from above. They report feelings of profound peace and connectedness, as if the I extends beyond the physical form. Meditation and flow states. Meditative practices, particularly in traditions like Zen and mindfulness, aim to quiet the ego and reveal a deeper awareness. Similarly, flow states, moments of intense focus and immersion in an activity, dissolve the boundaries of the self, leaving only the experience itself. Is the self an eternal mystery? As we grapple with the question of what is I, we encounter an inherent paradox. The very entity trying to understand the self is the self. This recursive nature makes the question both fascinating and perhaps unanswerable. A mirror reflecting itself. Imagine a mirror trying to reflect itself. It can reflect everything else in its environment but cannot directly see its own essence. Similarly, the I can observe its thoughts, emotions, and body but struggles to pinpoint its own core. The journey, not the destination. Perhaps the value of exploring the self lies not in finding a definitive answer but in the act of questioning itself. Each layer we peel back deepens our understanding, not just of ourselves but of the human experience. A final reflection, the dance of the self. The I is a mystery that beckons us, tantalizingly out of reach yet profoundly present in every moment. It is both the subject and the object of our inquiry, the seeker and the sought. Whether the self is an illusion, a divine spark, or a construct of the brain, one thing is certain: it shapes how we experience the world and how the world experiences us. So, as you ponder the question, who am I? Remember that the answer may not be a destination but a dance, a perpetual unfolding of identity, awareness, and existence. And perhaps, in embracing the mystery, we come closest to understanding the essence of the I.